Hi there, I'm Traci Skuce, and I am the author of Hunger Moons, collection of 13 short stories published by New West Press in April 2020. And this is the third in a series of 4 video readings. Thank you to the BC Arts Council for their support in this project. So I'm going to read today from not the entire story. Last time I read a whole story, and this time I'm going to read an excerpt from a story called Because the Fall is in 2 Weeks. And this story is written in the second person. It is I'm gonna out it as very autobiographical fiction. So here we go. Wake up. It's 5:45. You've had a whole summer of rising early. So despite darkness creeping closer and closer to 7, it shouldn't be hard. Plus, you're a light sleeper, and your boyfriend's right next to you, snoring away. Grab your flashlight and shine it on his face. Study his furrowed brow, the clover curve of his nostrils. He looks like someone you hardly know. Let the alarm beep until he moans and buries his head. Don't apologize. Turn it off and hustle into your long johns and 2 pairs of wool socks. Then crawl out of the tent and stuff your socked feet into Birkenstocks. Zip up the tent door and head to the converted school bus. The sky is pure pitch. If you looked up, you'd see a silver peppering of stars. Since you insist on fastening your gaze to the flashlight beam, try to recollect the dream you've just surfaced from. The one with the baby boy who came out of you and started running along a riverbank. Your period should have come a week ago, and your breasts are so sore. Just because they've been sore before doesn't mean it's nothing. But go ahead, keep telling yourself it's nothing. Then pull the generator cord so the lights inside the bus fled on. Climb aboard and fire up the stove. Even though you're a vegetarian, lay bacon strips affectionately across the pan. Tuck these into the oven and boil a dozen eggs. Fill the biggest pot with water and set it on the back burner. When it boils, toss in half a pack of nabob and then, because you always doubted strength, add the other half and let it simmer. The sky is paling outside. Time to mix the pancake batter and start flipping. The first 3 pancakes will be raw and burnt. They'll always be raw and burnt. Just throw them away. There's a pink streak in the sky, and the camp emerges from darkness. Tents, trucks, trees. At 6:30, the crew boss steps onto the bus. He's wearing a toque and fogged up glasses, and fiddles with the handheld radios. Pour cold water over the coffee to sink the grounds and exchange good mornings. Then set the coffee on the table with the long-handled ladle so he can pour some into his cup. He sips, raises his eyebrows, and adds a teaspoon of sugar. Load his plate with pancakes and bacon, point out the bottle of syrup, imitation maple, and the blueberry jam. Repeat this routine for the 3 French-Canadian guys, the woman with dreads, the crew boss girlfriend, and the couple with matching blonde bowl cuts and wire-rimmed glasses. As the time approaches 7, brew yourself a cup of jasmine tea and let the stragglers fend for themselves. Your boyfriend steps onto the bus 10 minutes before the trucks leave. He squints against the morning, grunts, and slaps together 3 peanut butter, no jam sandwiches. The Stanfield he wears is pilly and gray and smells like cigarettes and a sour musk, not unlike the inside of your tent. A thick silence accompanies him, a dark underground anger. Nothing that'll clear with coffee, which he gulps and gulps. You've only known him 3 weeks and haven't yet heard about his teenage suicide attempt or how long and hard he holds a grudge. Avoid eye contact and scrape some bacon grease into a tin, but don't recite his favorite scene from Barfly to make him smile. Don't wait for him to peck your cheek, thinking it's all okay. Last night when you told him you were late, he said, "I'll marry you next day off." You were both high, so don't feel bad for shrieking, "No way!" Instead, think about how he scoffed when you said you had 2 years left on your degree, how he asked what the hell that had to do with real life anyway. Remember how you backpedaled and apologized and told him he could move in with you in the fall. The fall is in 2 weeks. At 7:15, people flurry through the camp, collecting boots and packs, grabbing last-minute apples and Rice Krispie squares. Doors slam and engines roar, and all 3 trucks pull out, a wake of dust behind them. You don't know where they're going. You don't even know where you are, except that it's kind of, sort of, near Williams Lake. To get here, you had no map, but followed a convoy of trucks east off the main highway along potholed pavement. But the car stalled out in a town called Likely, and no one up ahead seemed to notice. Your heart freaked as though you'd been attacked by a bear and you attempted to pop the clutch. Thankfully, your new boyfriend drove up in a company pickup and cable jumped the battery. After that, you followed him, passing lake and forest, mountains, clear cuts, and logging roads. If you had to navigate out of here alone, you'd get totally lost. The camp nestles into pines at the edge of what you think is a small lake, but is actually the crooked arm of a larger lake, 10 times better than the gravel pit camp near Mackenzie and the clear cut south of Prince George. Also, the crew's small, the smallest you've cooked for this season, 15 including you, which makes the work almost like camping. Restock the lunch trays and sliced ham and salami, some of that marbled cheese. Peel what's left of the boiled eggs and mash them into mayo and some green onion. Cover with cellophane and stick in the fridge. Then dump pitted dates into a saucepan, simmer to a paste, and bake into squares. While you're doing the dishes, feel a squeeze between your hip bones, a full-on cramp above your pubis. Leave the stainless bowl, the dish suds, and run behind the bus to pee. No blood on the toilet paper. None. Feel a little dizzy as you stand. You're officially 10 days late. Once you stack the dishes and cut the date squares, you really should eat. Rice Krispie squares do not count. The grilled cheese you've eaten for weeks are not enough. You need sustenance, nourishment, a shit ton of iron. Those cigarettes someone left on the driver's seat will not satiate you. Besides, they're not yours. You're not a smoker. Not even close. Sure, go ahead and light one up on the stove, but you're only punishing your body for its natural inclinations. Step onto the pine-needled ground. Go behind the bus and glance at the place where you peed. Sigh. Sighing's good. Switch off the generator. The motor chugs to a standstill and the silence fills your ears. Crickets and cawing crows, pine cones popping in the early heat. A gentle, barely there rustle of end-of-summer leaves. Disregard the cigarette stink and catch something autumnal in the air. Feel the melancholic ache that summer's almost over, that soon you'll face textbooks and syllabuses and serious decisions. Sit on a folding chair down by the campfire ring. Take a drag off the cigarette and let it induce nausea. You haven't felt remotely sick until this very second. Evidence you've used to convince yourself you're not pregnant. Now you're not so sure. Count forwards and backwards from your last period, which started on July 21st, back when you and your new boyfriend were in Mackenzie and you only knew his first name. On the day off after that, you had sex with him under a picnic table in a park, and then in that crappy motel. The first time you used a condom, the second time not. But he did pull out. Then back at camp, you were careful-ish for a bit, and after by some random calculation and a memory of a sex ed chart, you figured you'd finished the ovulation part of your cycle. Did you really believe you weren't fertile? Did you really believe you were exempt from this whole mandate to propagate the species? The truth? He's the first boy to make you come. The truth? You've thrown out reason for orgasm. The truth? It will cost you. Count again. 39 days. You've never gone a single day over 30. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you especially to the BC Arts Council for their support. And we'll see you one more video in this series of 4 next week. Bye now.